Hey guys, welcome to my channel. And this topic today about Battlefield will be about the maps in the game and obviously why they didn't work in 2042. So, the types of maps, right, that I think and, have an opinion is that the maps in this game in 2042 was way too big because obviously they were supposed to have 128 v 128 or something like that, and I don't remember because it hasn't even been implemented into the game or played. I don't recall. And the thing is that these maps were way too big for the game, right? Everything was too open. There was only one base form in the game. Not base form, one base in the entire game. And what I mean by base, right? I mean the the main area and where everybody would, fight at, right? Like a main conquest point. So, for example, B1 on the map in 2042 where I'm playing at, that's what I consider the main point or the middle point in the game for my reference, right? And in 2042 and other maps, there's never really been any base in the map because everything is just so widespread out and you cannot really get a rhythm on where you actually want to go in the map and how you position, right? It's just you can position. All right, I'm gonna say this. You can position in a lot of areas, but there's way too many areas that you can position at and can possibly break the game. And that's why specialists, right, are advocated to be removed because, there's different things. Whatever that dude's name was, M MK, whatever his name was, he can grapple hook on top of, you know, the containers and docks and stuff, and all sorts of things, and the drone can get out of bounds and stuff like that. Whatever. But on the main topic of the maps were way too big for the game, and I don't think that they should be in the next Battlefield. And I have some suggestions and some maps that I possibly want in the next Battlefield. So, my idea for the size of the maps in the next game is I think they should be either medium or a slightly above medium, but not necessarily a large map because majority of the maps in Battlefield, like every single map, are usually medium to like above medium slightly. I don't really play any larger maps. Everybody like the faster paced maps as well as having freedom, freedom from for the snipers and freedom for the people who wants to walk around and not have to get sidewalk like side yes, sidewalked every single time. Everybody is just getting killed from the sides and stuff, and you have to look around 24/7 instead of having a good catch of breath when you're, going on a feed or whatnot. So, my maps, right, and it does belong in the content. They said that they will add some type of premium, right? I don't know how true it is for the next Battlefield, but it said it was getting into the game. My only concern for that, right, is how many maps would be in a base form as well as be in the premiums to come. I don't really remember how many maps were in premium and BF4, BF3, and in total, in general, of, BFs in the BF games. You know, but I will say that for the maps to be so large is my kind of my theory reasoning on why there hasn't been many maps in the game, because obviously they're making big maps for no exact reason, because nobody plays those large maps, and we were forced to play maps that were dumbed down in size to fit the 64 the 32v32 category, right? 64 player category. So I have some maps. Obviously, they're gonna be from Hardline and BF4. The reason why I say Hardline and BF4 is because we're back in the modern setting, and I feel some of the maps that I have, in my opinion, to be added into the next game will kind of be in the category of a modern setting. All right. So my first map is Hollywood Heights from Hardline, right? This is my Hardline category. Hollywood Heights. Hollywood Heights, the big mansion, and the big mansion on Hollywood, right? Since we're getting LA in the next battlefield, right? So Hollywood Heights. And back to my last um saying about the base, right? The base in the game, the big mansion in the game, that is the base in Battlefield that everybody will flock towards, right? And the reason why I say Hollywood Heights is because it's a very modern setting of being in the nighttime in a neighborhood of mansions, and you had this one big mansion, that you can go towards, destroy, and there's an outside, or you can capture other points of objectives and then go to the main base to have control over what type of point you can go towards next. And my meaning that you really have to capture the the mansion to have control over if your team loses or not. So you can have, and obviously people have different strategies. You can go on the outside, what, and whatnot. But I'm just focusing on the base, right? To have base in the game, balance and base in the game. All right, so that's Hollywood Heights. My second is Cemetery. Cemetery, it's a decent map, and it has decent spawns, but my main my main reason for Cemetery is possibly aesthetic. Is it can be implemented into the game, but it's different. It's just different for the game. Not many maps or maps from FPS have those type of maps anyway in the game. Cemetery hasn't really been, played that much. I don't know why it hasn't really been liked, but it's pretty, good in my opinion, you know. And yeah, that's just my opinion for Cemetery. And the next one is Black Friday. The big mall map in Hardline where you're just strolling through the mall and, you know, shooting each other in the mall. So Black Friday is it's a good map. It's pretty good. Yeah, the spawns are good because obviously there's a main base point, in the middle of the area with that big those big like borders, wall borders or whatever, those little LED borders, and the bar area in the middle. That that is a base point that can possibly have a balance in the game. So Black Friday, Black Friday could be a type of see this map in the background, right? That's playing, discarded, right? This is how Black Friday is actually, but you actually have more freedom on Black Friday instead of just being possibly like stationary. You know how we are right now, and having to see who will get pushed back and who will push forward, and that's good to the game. In my opinion, it's pretty good to the game, but it can be repetitive if it happens every single game with the same map. So Black Friday is pretty good. So I think, yeah, I do think Black Friday could be implemented into the game. It's a medium type map, and it could be up there. The the break pointe. It's another type of mansion map, but it's just on the outskirts on the island. You know, it's kind of like the cartel feeling. It's cartel feeling because it's on the island and it has some type of cartel like atmosphere to it, and not really a bad map. Played it quite a good amount of times, and it's up there in my category. But I will say that the map could possibly use some type of you know remodeling, and the spawn points in that game is kind of it's kind of bad, but it could be up there for aesthetic map, and if it's remodeled for the spawn points, it could be very good in addition to the game. And I'm gonna go to BF4 now. BF4. My last reasoning for not my last reasoning. My last ideas for the maps that should be put into Battlefield 6. Metro in between lockers. So you can implement both in a game, but obviously we would need some type of wide maps, instead of having, the same medium maps indoors, not having no outside freedom and whatnot. I did say Breakpoint and Cemetery, those are outdoors. And if we do have more of these type maps, like in the background and the ones I just said, those can be pretty good for the game. I don't know if it's good for anybody else, but for me, it can make action more, you know, actiony. Yeah. So Metro in between lockers. Metro and lockers, they're both good maps. One thing I had an issue with Metro is that it's very tight, and that can be good for the game. It's very tight, but it's not really bad since you know you can have sort of a balance in whether or not you're pushed back or you're pushing forward. Breakthrough and lockers in their type of rush. And I don't know if I heard rush will be in BF6, not from the labs but from leaks. But lockers with rush, and I don't know about breakthrough because we never had breakthrough in with lockers, right? Lockers have a more bit of a freedom compared to Metro. in my opinion. So they can both be added into the game, and if one should be chosen and one should be thrown out, I think I think Metro should stay in the game because they have an updoor area with the stairs, and it can be fun and whatnot to fight up there, and the little area in the train station make it feel more of a modern atmosphere instead of being in the prison. My next one is Pearl Market. Pearl Market is a decent map. It's not necessarily bad, and it can be better for the game. Pearl Market is there. It's up there. It's up there in maps. Then then we got Rogue Transmission. It's up there. That's for a wide map. That big little um, oval of a shape or satellite, whatever. That's pretty good of a map. I might get that map wrong, but I'm gonna show it up there. Sunken Dragon is Sunken Dragon hasn't really been heard that much, and the reason why I like Sunken Dragon is because what's that map again? The Siege of something? I forgot already. The Siege of Shanghai or Shanghai. So the Sunken Dragon is kind of like that map, but it's more of a challenge to get towards the end of it, with rush and whatnot. When you get to the end, you have to literally swim towards the ship, right? And I might be biased in why I like that map more, but the ship, the dragon ship, it has a good aesthetic to it, a good atmosphere, and a good bit of art to it. To having to swim to a sunken ship and try to get in, and as time goes on, it floods, and that can be towards the Levolution or towards my experience in the map. Who knows? But the Sunken Dragon, I like that map. In the city area, in the first respective part of the game, is it's not too hard or too easy to get into the zone to capture that point. And that's one thing. Before I go on to the last remaining maps that I want, is that these maps, in my opinion, cannot be too hard or too easy to capture. They should be even to capture, because you don't know the what's that game called? Delta Force. Yeah, those maps in that game was horrendous, man. You literally had to have these maps that you can't push unless you have an Olympic style team and an Olympic squad to be able to capture the point. You can't really capture nothing in that game. It's just too weird. It's not really meant to be a video game map. It's meant to be like a damn simulation map or something. So I'm gonna go to the last map, right? And I'm gonna say Hangar 21. And Hangar 21, yeah, it's a good map because obviously, you know, no TOS or nothing, but fighting in a hangar that has a ballistic style missile, right? That's it's. I mean, obviously, it's modern, so I can't we add that to the game, right? The Hangar 21 is very good. It's a very good map. The spawns are good, and it's a medium to medium large map. You have a lot of freedom, even even in rush, you have freedom, and it also has an outside area where snipers can have their freedom, and us who are assaults or medics or engineers can have our freedom, right? and the vehicle players. Can't forget about them. And those maps I would like in a game. And all those maps are medium to medium large in my eyes. And I would love these type of maps because they are modern in the sense of the new game that's coming out to be modern, right? And the only thing I can say is that we we cannot have maps that is too large for the game, even too small, right? Because too small maps can be hectic and you get spawn trapped. Just like Call of Duty, obviously you get spawn trapped if the other team is good and the other team is bad. That's why skill-based matchmaking is a big problem because good players can trash and keep people in spawn who is on the other team that's very bad and don't know what to do about it. So that's all I'm going to say is that these maps are my respective favorites and also good good implementations for the next battlefield and should be added into the next battlefield. So that's all I'm gonna say for this video, and I hope you liked the video. I want to hear any ideas, from the next battlefield game and people who say their favorite maps that want to be implemented into that battlefield. So that's all I'm gonna say, and hope you enjoyed the video. Like, share, subscribe, and